Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a reading for Sagittarius. So, Sagittarius, as usual, I'm doing this reading with my own tarot deck, so the cards that you see are from this deck. So, Sagittarius, let's talk about your mind and how you are allowing a thought to come to you or to be fully formed in your head in a way that you are giving yourself time to receive this information, which, to be honest, it's not exactly receive, but it's almost like receive the signal when this thought, which seems to be like, it's almost like it's unfurling several other thoughts. And I want to say, like, almost like this huge purging of your mind, but it starts with one thought that could be like this trigger for all of the rest to come through in a very it's almost like flushing out something, right? So you need to know, it's almost like you need to have this clarity inside your mind when this first trigger is ready to be known or seen or processed inside your mind, because you know better, because you're showing up here as this King of Swords. So the King of Swords actually took a while to come through. I was shuffling and no cards were coming. And I was wondering whether or not there would be a reading for Sagittarius today. But here it is, starting with this very, it's interesting, it's wanting to be like this highly developed mind of this king, right? So you know better because you know that you've been through this maturity process, right? It's like you have been maturing, developing your mind, your mental skills, even perhaps your psychic skills. Although I do feel like it's almost blended between your psychic abilities, your connection with the universe, with these higher dimensions, with these higher knowledges, but also like it's almost like your human thoughts, right? Your human it's like these thoughts that are formed in your mind, right? Thought forms, is that how you say it? It's something like that. So you are in a position, Sagittarius, where you have already achieved this high degree of intelligence and ability to perceive, right? Ability to read the signs. But you are allowing yourself time to let this information come to you. It's almost like you're not rushing it. You're not pushing this to come to you faster, because the Four of Cups is giving me this image of like this it's a cooking imagery, right? And the word in Portuguese that came through, which I don't know how to translate it in English, but in Portuguese is cozinhar em banho-maria, which would be cook slowly or cook in water. I don't know how to say that. But, I'm just going to describe the image so perhaps you'll know what I mean. So usually when there is this type of cooking, you just want to melt perhaps like, for instance, chocolate or something like that. You don't throw the chocolate in the water. It's like the water is underneath, it's inside the pan, but then there is like a bowl or something with the thing that is being melted, right? So the thing that is being melted, which in this case is your thought, it's like you are slow cooking it, or you are allowing it to dissolve, you're allowing it to melt. Because if it came as like this trigger, right? The Three of Swords being the first trigger, because it's almost like there is this first trigger which seems to be very hard or very painful, right? Because the Three of Swords is coming through as, the traditional Three of Swords. And it's not until you are highly developed or you are fully in control of how your thoughts influence you, or how they shape your mind, or how they shape your perception of situations and your reality, right? Especially because to me, the threes, they do communicate this message of co-creation. So it's almost like you know better than to allow a trigger to co-create a reality that you wouldn't be happy to co-create, right? Or to be a participant in this co-creation. So you don't want, that's the reason why the Four of Cups is here, right? It's almost like it's stabilizing, it's bringing the water so that this is not a sharp trigger. It's not going to co-create this vomiting of thoughts, right? Because it feels like there is a huge purging, right? But it's fascinating because it's almost like you are allowing yourself time to look at this again, because while it goes through the process of slow cooking, let's call it that way, it's almost like it's not going to be as painful, or it's not going to be as impactful for you to deal with it, because this is the first one, and you do have the proper mindset, you do have the appropriate thinking process that is going to enable you to look at this after giving yourself time to simmer, or to just allow this to come to you in a way that is not going to be destructive, or it's not going to co-create a destructive reality or destructive consequence and outcomes, especially because the Judgment coming next. This is fascinating because the Judgment here, it's almost like you have a stronger tool now. In a sense, it's almost like here is the thing that you are dealing with. Here's the first trigger. You have already dealt with it. This is how I was seeing this. It's almost like you have tried to look at this painful memory or painful situation before, but because you do have this very strong and powerful tool, and perhaps you weren't in this mindset, or you didn't have enough mental maturity, or even like emotional maturity or emotional stability, is like you just crushed this and it didn't feel good, right? Because this is the impression that I'm receiving from the Judgment. It's almost like your reaction or your response was stronger than it needed. So it's almost like it crushed you as well, right? Or it made you question your reaction or something like that. Because you know now, because of that situation, it's almost like part of the pain, it's not the situation itself, but it's almost like your reaction to it. It's almost like you're disappointed in how you reacted. So this is part of the trigger. So that's the reason why you don't want to react again. So you are allowing this thought to go through this simmering, or like filtering, or melting the intensity, right? So that you do realize that when you use this powerful tool, which feels like it wants to break a pattern, right? It's like I'm seeing this hammer as like breaking a pattern, this pattern of this destructive co-creation, which you don't want to repeat. You don't want this to continue. So, but now you know that it's not by, crushing it with all of your strength or all of your intensity. It's rather allowing it to show itself to you, what's in there for you. Because now this bottom row here is where things get even more intense. But the reason why I'm saying that this is more intense, because it all starts with this, right? It's like the moment that you're ready, Sagittarius, to face again this Three of Swords, it's almost like you're ready to unfurl, or to detangle, let's say, or to uncover lots of things, like many different thoughts that are coming through, and they are going to come through rushing through you, right? It's like this massive purging. It's almost like you're vomiting your thoughts, not literally perhaps, but not literally is not what I'm seeing. It's like maybe you need to scream or shout or write or talk or sing, or it's like it's going to become bigger, right? Because after this Judgment, we have the Magician, and this pair is giving me this image that I've never seen before, and it's so fascinating. You see the hat of the Magician, right? it's almost like there is this resemblance with this shape here, but here it is smashed. So the reason why perhaps you are, or you were in the past, disappointed in yourself, and perhaps part of the pain, part of the hurt that you carried was because it's like you reacted in a way that hurt you. It's like it didn't only mean that somebody else hurt you. It's like you hurt yourself by responding or reacting in the way that you did, using your powerful tool to, it's almost like, remember when I was talking about the threes being co-creation, right? And the magician being this message of manifestation. This is the restoration of this manifestation ability. But the way that you do so, it's like you recognize that in the past, because you didn't want, maybe you were very conscious and very aware of this distorted co-creation pattern. So you didn't want that to be the case anymore. But back then, you didn't know how to properly use this tool. You didn't have this maturity right now that you have, right? So it's almost like before, what you did, it's like you smashed this entirely. It's like your ability to manifest collapsed. It's almost like you in your mind, okay, you destroyed completely your ability to manifest. It's almost like you destroyed magic from your life, because your attempt really was to, was to stop this co-creation, or this pattern of co-creation that was just causing pain and destruction. But what you did, because perhaps you didn't know better, but now you know, right? It's like you're not going to repeat the past. So you do have the same tool, but you're going to properly use it, because you don't want to smash or to push aside the magician, which is the magic, which is the manifestation, which is your ability to co-create with the universe. So here is, where this blending of this psychic ability and this mental control comes together. It's like, because you've been through a situation that you knew your power, or at least it was perhaps the first time that you came to really know or experiment with it, but what it gave you in return, or the outcome that came after that, was the sense of losing it all, or maybe losing your ability to co-create. It's almost like, if it wasn't this way, it's like it felt like you couldn't co-create in any way possible, right? But the magician is here to reassure to you that what is going to now be revealed to you, Sagittarius, is that before this is restored fully, I want to say, because it is here at the bottom of the deck, to be honest, you need to purge. There is a huge purging, right? So the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords. So here, let's see if I'll be able to describe this. Here, with the Three of Swords and the Judgment and the Magician, it's almost like before it was just this one thing, or this small trigger, or this relationship, or whatever the Three of Swords means to you, and then you crushed it, you smashed it, or it's like you destroyed it, you ended that pattern, but it still left you with the sensation that you lost the ability to see magic or to manifest whatever you want, right? But here, this is being restored. At the same time, you see here how it's no longer crushed, right? Here, it's here down to the bottom, so the head is all, it's like it's very small. Your ability to manifest is very small because you didn't have control over your judgment, you see? But here it's growing because you are giving yourself, well, you do have now this mental maturity and the emotional stability to do so, because you know that at the same time that this ability to co-create is deeply associated with a mystery, that I always talk about this magician as holding these mysteries, right? Or these tricks inside the hat. In this case, what you are going to finally see, it's like part of the mystery for this manifestation to be returned to you is that you need to allow these thoughts to come out of you. So the trigger is this one, is the first thing, it's the first memory, is the first or maybe the most recent pain, right? The most it's like maybe the most frequent thought that you have that is, you know, disturbing you or constantly like just there, right? Bothering you. But here with the 8 and the 9 of Swords, it feels like there is this notion, because you are embodying this very wise person, right? It's like this very wise mindset that you, it's like, yes, you're able to see it all now. You're able now to, because I'm seeing this as like this rush of like saying a bunch of things all at once, or like, you know, like it's just like vomiting something. This is how I'm seeing it. It's not pleasant, okay? It is disgusting, but it's needed. This is what the Magician is saying. It's needed because the moment that it's all out there, it's not in your mind anymore, you can start processing it. The 9 of Swords here is talking about prioritizing your thoughts. So here, it was still part of your co-creation, which, because back then you didn't know how to control this or how to stop this, you ended it all, right? It's almost like you stopped believing in magic, you stopped believing that co-creation was a possibility, or that, you know, relationships could be fruitful. It's almost like you stopped believing, right? So here you are having all of that back together with this purging. The moment that it all comes out, because there is no, it's like you're not trying to destroy them. You're not trying to smash them. You're not trying to crush down to the floor, right? Or to forget it, or to, you know, minimize it. It's not avoidance. It's not. It's like, this is seeing it all out. It's like, it's just taking it from your mind and putting it out there, right? But the 9 of Swords is where the Ace of Swords here in the center has this free passage, in a sense, among the 8 swords that are on the sidelines. So it's not like you, and it's interesting, the 9 of Swords here is not as harsh as the traditional 9 of Swords, especially because the bottom of the deck, as I said, is the Ace of Cups. So it's another ace, and it's almost like there's something about this one here, this Ace of Swords, which is it's your ability to look at each one of these messy thoughts and make sense, not with your mind. And it's not that you don't have that ability, but because that was conditioned, or it was so enmeshed in this distorted co-creation, that when you process this 9 of Swords, you're doing so with your heart. I hope that makes sense. I know that's not that simple. It's almost like you're not using your mental, maybe your mental tools, because you know how strong they are, right? It's like you're using this very gentle, because that's how you started this. That's how you waited long enough to pull the trigger, right? The first thing that is going to bring it all out, right? So you know how to melt it. You know how to dissolve the power of something that could be very destructive, or agonizing, or very like this very destructive pattern or path. You know how to, it's like you know how to see each one. You know how to touch each one. You know how to feel about each thought, right? This is how you're going to process a lot all at once, because you're not just using your mental intelligence, you're using your heart, right? And maybe that's also why this is not ending, actually is being restored, because it's like it's being processed by your heart, and your heart believes, right? Believes in the magic, sees the magic, believes in the mystery. So there's a lot. There's a lot, Sagittarius, for you to process. I do feel like you're ready though. I feel like maybe before this moment, you weren't that ready. You tried, right? But you had an outcome that wasn't the way that you expected or that you wanted. Now it seems like you're ready to face this. However strong it feels, however challenging it may feel or it may look like, I do feel like you're ready for this. So, Sagittarius, I am going to pull more cards for you as well as the astrological runes in the extended reading. So, if you want to join me there, I'll be very happy to see you. You can find the link down below. If not, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.